Here we go. And welcome to yet another edition of Ask the AD. I'm Dave Horger. This is Greg Christopher, the athletic director at Bowling Green State University. Greg, we have some just flat-out exciting things to talk about today, and in particular, Bill Frack. Talk about that very generous donation. And did you know that was coming?
Oh, we knew it was coming. It had been in the works for, the statement I've said many times, and it is the truth, it had been in the works for 60 years. And that's how long Bill has had a relationship with Bowling Green, back to when his dad was bringing him to games in the old men's gym from the time he was probably that tall. So it's a lot of people involved. From the time I got to Bowling Green, and I told the story about his first gift, a large gift, but even at that point in time, he told us that there would be an estate gift when the time was right. That was how it was always phrased. And that time is right really occurred probably about 6 months ago. We started really talking and developing this along with his attorney. And there's only one word for it. It's incredible. And what it's going to do for the program, the word transformation got used a lot that week, and absolutely true.
The first gift was when he walked into your office with a $1 million check, which was a nice thing for him to do. But as far as this donation is concerned, he's not going to walk in with a $10 million check. So for those that maybe don't understand, how is all of this going to fall?
This is a trust, or a series of trusts in this case, but the bottom line is it's a deferred gift. Now Bill has been and continues to be, and has said he'll continue to be very generous toward the university, but the $10 million number comes when the endowment is fully realized after Bill passes away. So the trust is actually secured as part of the Hancock County Foundation, but the money will flow through the Bowling Green Foundation, like all gifts do, and form an endowment for men's basketball.
Bill's 75, so we're hoping that he's with us
a long time.
A long time. Yeah. Good guy. As far as what this money is to be used for, I know the press release indicated coaches' salaries, recruiting, and so on. Who determines what money will go where?
Ultimately, it's the athletic department's decision. So I guess ultimately it comes down to the athletics director making the decision. But we sat down with Bill and his attorney and constructed the document based on his wishes. So if you say really the end purpose is men's basketball, and it's a donor decision. And just like any donor that makes any gift to Bowling Green, it's about what does he or she want to support. And if I had to define it in two areas, it's about the support structure around men's basketball, and it's about scheduling. There's a direct correlation to successful at-large programs, especially at the mid-major level, with how many home games do you play, and how many, and are you successful at a national level. We've been averaging 12 to 13 home games a year. If you look at the Xaviers and Butlers of the world, we probably ought to be up in the 16 to 18 home games a year. It takes money to schedule more home games. The support structure piece, I talked about it a little bit last week. It's about academic support structure, strength and conditioning. It's the structure around the program that needs to be improved.
Now, we talk about buying games, and you and I have talked, and I've talked with other people down through the years. Big schools won't come to a place like Bowling Green for any number of reasons. Will this enable BG with the new Stroh and so forth to bring in an Ohio State, Michigan State, those types of teams?
Ohio State, no. I honestly don't think so. Thad Matta won't leave his building, and he's proven that. I think if you get to that elite level, the Ohio States of the world, their philosophy is, if you look at their 12 games or so they have to play, they will play 2 or 3 peer games, non-conference wise, where they will step out, but it's often on a neutral court. The rest of their games are against low to mid majors that they will buy and get to come to their building. Here's what I think scheduling, how it will change and how we'll benefit from it. Instead of us having to go to East Lansing and get an $80,000 or $90,000 check, or go to Xavier and get an $80,000 check, or drive 8 hours to Iowa City to pick up an $80,000 check, you won't have to do that anymore. But you will get some of those BCS schools probably at that next tier down who will do home and homes with you. So maybe it's in Iowa that'll do a home and home with us. They'll come to our place, but we don't have to go on the road for the guarantee games as much anymore. And we probably can't afford, for the first time, to be getting into the guarantee business a little bit. The Kent States and Akrons of the world are already there. We dip into it a little bit with especially some of the non-D1 games at Bowling Green, but we can get a little more aggressive with that.
I can tell you're pretty pleased with all this, aren't you?
Absolutely. I use the phrase program changer.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
I'm not sure we'll benefit from it, but a generation from now, this men's basketball program is going to be built to be successful on a national level.
Football signing day is coming up. What
Yeah.
sort of thoughts are you receiving as far as the recruits so far?
I know our head football coach is very excited, and he clearly knows his business, and he's excited about the kids that are coming in here. Obviously, he'd like to redshirt as many of them as possible.
Right.
I know coming down the stretch, it's an anxiety-filled week. We've lost a couple of kids. We've picked up a couple of kids, and that's the nature of the business. But he's excited to try to plug a couple of immediate gaps with a couple of junior college kids that are already here on campus. But the rest of them, if you look at our class, it's that very typical, probably 2/3 of the class is from the state of Ohio or the contiguous states.
Right.
And then there's probably a few more Florida, Georgia kids in this group trying to address some needs related often to speed.
How did the coaching evaluations go? I know you sit down after each season and talk. I'm guessing you're pleased with, despite the record last year, obviously things are being done properly.
Yeah, absolutely. Programs, Dave, let me put it this way. I feel better about the direction of this program today, maybe even than I felt a year ago, coming off of a bowl game. How Dave and his staff handled the adversity of this past season in building that foundation and structure, we're going to be just fine. We knew we were going to take our lumps in 2010. Again, not sure I would have picked 2-10 necessarily with all those close games. But if you look at that foundation that's being built, we're going to be just fine. I'm not going to sit here and say we're going to reverse it and go 10-2, but we'll be just fine going forward.
The people out in Falcon Nation wonder about non-conference schedules. I know you're working on that pretty much on a regular basis. Any information?
Nothing has changed. To my knowledge, I don't know what the last update that we've got out there that Dave Meyer and Jason Knable have put out, but our two home games next year are Wyoming and Morgan State. Wyoming is an FCS opponent. Morgan State is the FCS opponent. Wyoming's the back end of a home and home. We start the season at Idaho. We start a home and home there, and then West Virginia is our guarantee game at West Virginia. So that's next year. We're full through 14, and actually we're dotting the I's and crossing the T's with a WAC opponent right now, Louisiana Tech, for a home and home there that's down the road. So you're right. We're constantly working on that stuff.
One of the people that submitted a question wanted to know about what might be happening behind the scenes to enhance the quality of men's sports at BGSU. You kind of touched upon this with football. To win in the Mid-American Conference, you need some experienced players. You've got to have seniors. And it's very, very evident when we look at the success of teams in the MAC. You got seniors, you're going to do pretty good.
That's right. We were talking about before we started taping, and I think the specific question is really the high-profile sports, because we have had some success. I mean, Danny Schmitz is doing a great job. Eric Nichols has got his team moving. It's the programs that end up in the newspaper: football, hockey, and basketball, and obviously men's basketball's kind of righted the ship and is playing really well right now. But when that question was written, I'm guessing was at the beginning of the season. And you're absolutely right. And I talk about this with our coaches. I talk about it with our student athletes all the time. The common denominator in this league is that seniors win. And unlike maybe the Ohio States of the world, where you get more one-and-dones or guys jump into the NFL, in this league, it's been proven time and time again across the sports that the senior-laden teams, so you got to keep those classes together. And the reasons are different. But if you look at hockey, you look at men's basketball, and you look at football, we've got a total of 8 seniors, I think it is, across those 3 sports. 1, and 6, I believe. I may be off by a little bit there, but bottom line is all 3 of those programs are young for different reasons. But I think all 3 are headed in the right direction. Not real thrilled with what you're seeing right now, but again, I think things are headed in the right direction.
And women's basketball.
Great example there.
Yeah,
6 seniors, terrific program. Kurt just keeps reloading there and does a remarkable job.
Let's close our program today talking about the sport we don't talk too much about, but it's pretty successful here on this campus. That's rugby.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's a national tournament of sorts coming to this campus. What can you tell us about that?
It's in May. I've forgotten the exact dates, but I know we've gotten a fair amount of publicity. Our rugby program is a terrific program. It's actually a club sport. They did a demonstration at halftime of one of our football games this year, but we are hosting a piece of the national tournament on the Bowling Green campus in May. A lot of times people will ask me, when's it going to become a varsity sport? It's not even an NCAA sport, so it's really not an option for it to be a varsity sport per se, but they are nationally ranked within the club structure and do a terrific job in their own right. We're excited to help them host. The games will be played, I believe, on our soccer field, and I think we're even taking a look at the football stadium, whether or not something could be done there. But yeah, bottom line, they're very good, and the tournament's going to be here at Bowling Green in May.
Have you got everything covered today?
For now.
I think we have, and we'll see you again in about a month on Ask the AD.